Zoom is another option. No, we're
Uh,
live.
hey guys, how's it going? I'm sorry I'm late. Had sort of a crazy time with my husband being a little late because of traffic. So,
Oh, yeah. That happens.
yeah. So, anyway, I hope everybody's Thursday is good. How are you doing, Mr. Geek?
Me? Me? Well, I'm sure happy it's Thursday. There's an acronym there if you look at it. But no, in all seriousness, I'm fine. There's an acronym there as well. But like, so instead of like, sure happy it's Thursday and fine, I'm okay. That's how I usually am. I can be okay so long as I don't think about like our economic system or like spend time on Twitter. Or even in amongst those other things, I can be okay or all right. But it's like I'm home now, so I was like, hey,
Cool. And how's everybody in the chat? Hopefully, eventually, I'll find out. Hey, everybody in the chat. Thanks for
hello,
stopping
chat.
by. Um,
People are
so
saying hello. So far,
yeah. So if you hear kids in the background, that's my life. So enjoy that. I don't know what else to say about that.
I mean, how isn't it's not usually a curiosity stream where there's like some mild interruptions of background noise of the children involved.
Mm.
Not always, but usually.
All right. So let's get chatting, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So did you watch the Mueller thing?
No, I well, okay, so it's like seeing that like that's one of the topics that we are gonna that you like put up there. I did finally watch like at least like Seth Meyers like a closer look on that, and so that's as much as I've seen of it, and it's just kind of like yeah, so not surprising. Our president did a lot of crimes. I did hear the clip where it's like, no, Russia was definitely involved in our elections, and they're still getting involved, which it's sadly not surprising to me, and that is a problem. And it's yeah, it's just like yeah, it's like what's a 400-page report, which I can understand how some people won't read it all, but like still as we have a president that like should at least be arrested once he's out of office if he cannot be arrested while in office because of like the office said like no you can't indict a sitting president or that's part of like Robert Mueller's instruction that he can't indict the sitting president and I now will Trump actually get a I don't will actually get impeached. I mean, it's like I would like to, but he's so close to the election right now. It's just like I don't know if that will happen, and it I is. I think it should be done because like I don't think we should like accept that this is something that a president can do and go off scot free. Will he be arrested? And once he's out of office, well, I'd like to see him in jail sometime. At some time, even though I'm a prison abolitionist, Donald Trump should be contained away from the rest of society for the benefit of a lot of people, especially women. And so, yeah, that's some of my thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with everything you said. Find it very disheartening. I didn't really expect, I was saying before it started, like, do not expect Mueller to come in and save us all, kids. Like, it's
Yeah.
not going to happen. But even that, just seeing how far away from any kind of concern about law or about principles that people really are, how naked the power grabs are now, and how little we as people can do about them. On the one hand, there's a part of me that is, I'm hoping that people are watching this and that it's making them feel like, well, if we can't work in the system,
Mm-hmm.
you know, um, but uh, I don't know. I don't know if that will happen, and it's still a sad thing no matter what. When it's your country and you grew up here, it's still like,
Yeah. Sometimes just tiring.
yeah, it's pretty exhausting.
And that's
And
the and that's the top of like other things that like other less fortunate people have to like deal with, because especially since like both of us come from like some places have privilege, certain privileges that we have, and for people who are a marginalized group, they will feel the brunt of like other things as well, or they'll be the first to feel affected. Like honestly, it's like yeah, while a lot of the national attention is on like the Robert Mueller thing, there's still a lot of like people, especially people in poverty, that like have like resorted to like begging online. A lot of like trans people can't get like the funds together to be able to afford to like transition. So a lot of people just have to resort to like GoFundMe campaigns and e-begging is. And when I see that, and I see a lot of people do that, like in some Discord servers that I'm part of, where they just will signal boost, hey, can you help this person out? I see like a message like that almost like at least once a week, sometimes daily. And then I have a lot of friends that like have to like resort to begging online in order to like get out of the situation. And yeah, oh god, and that's exhausting too when you think about it. But that's what radicalized means, and what makes me want to like almost run to the mountaintops and scream, don't you realize that system is killing people? We gotta do something about that. Ah!
okay.
At least scream therapy is a thing. I heard that's the thing. So yeah.
Yes, it is. And I no, I feel you. I totally feel you. Like when I'm in my car by myself, I if you had like a recording of it, you, you would be like, "Oh my God, this woman needs to be committed." And I'm sorry if that comes off as like ableist. I don't mean it to be. I
Mhm.
mean that it really would sound like just ridiculous. And because that's just like, when you're trying to just get it out and
Mhm.
you're just trying to get like, oh, I can't deal with this anymore. And it's like,
I can at work. I'm in locked door essentially. Well, some people have access to it, but it's like, but I do this thing anyway. Whereas like even I'm in my apartment or like at home or something like that. If I think I'm the only person in the room, I'll start talking to myself as like I have not like I'm talking to people who aren't there. No, I'm just having my inner monologue being like voiced out. And sometimes it's like again just going through Twitter or going through like Facebook and seeing all the horrible things that are happening, and I just like, why the system is so terrible? Yet people would like would defend this system or saying no, let's reform and not have a revolution.
yeah. And then I go, okay, what can I do now to make it a little bit better or
Mm-hmm,
try?
mm-hmm.
Which there are times when it's just like nothing. There's nothing I can do. But
Yeah.
you can't. Yeah. What was that quote that I had seen it and retweeted it out or something, and it was along the lines of, "Well, you don't fight fascists because you're going to win. You fight fascists because they're fascists."
Mm.
So I think that's just the attitude you got to have.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just like,
Exactly.
yeah, I'm here,
Mm-hmm.
win or lose. I'm not gonna just sit there. So that's all I can do.
Yeah, I have to remember that. Like, I did like sign up for like, yes, give me the email alerts of like this thing. Yes, I'm working with like Planned Parenthood. Yes, I'm the part of the action committee for like Work in Washington. So I do occasionally go out and do stuff. But I remember I have to also remember this because this was in the Pride movie, the 2014 movie about the like how the gays and lesbians like support the miners in 1984, 85 during the miners strike in Margaret Thatcher's UK. One of the activists was like the organizers were saying, don't give 100% of yourself to the cause. You got to leave some at home. And so and others have suggested, even like Phoenix like did a video like a year ago of like it's okay to take some time out for yourself, just like spend a weekend by yourself watching Netflix. The new Sheila's coming out next week, so go ahead and do that, because you're no good, or it doesn't help the cause if you're burned out or you burn yourself out. Actually, that's the thing. That's what I wanted to say. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, and think that self-care is very important. And otherwise you're just not gonna. I've said it before. If you're not in this fight for the long haul, then you're not really in this fight.
Yes.
You're just a placeholder. So, but keeping that in mind, you have to know that you have to pace yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all. It's difficult, but sometimes things get a little bit better for a while, I guess.
It's okay to like think of the positive things that you've done, or like try to like think of other things where it's like, hey, I'm at least doing this. I'm taking care of someone financially, or you are taking care of your kids, and you can be a good role model for them for like how to not be a shit person. You can like, I stand up for like these people when like no one's around, or it's like this douchebag is being a douchebag on Twitter. Someone's got to like tell him, and so there's in those sort of things, even though they seem tiny, they do have effects, and so you can't like always be down on yourself, but it's like you gotta balance things. You just gotta balance things.
So, do you want to talk about? Let's see. So right before we came on, I saw you there, and so I know that that there is like drama going on.
Mm-hmm.
Do we want to talk about that? Do we not want to talk about it? I'm up either way. I don't care.
Yes, well, we've just been joined by Heather. Hello.
Heather,
Hi.
how's it going?
Just life is always crazy.
We just got I'm discussing all about that, like the Robert Mueller thing, like how do we keep ourselves like sane in this world, and that's probably a better choice of words. But yet Christy and I just mentioned how when we're by ourselves, we're screaming at ourselves. So that's the kind of world we have.
Yeah. Yeah, just everything is crazy.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I can at least show off something to like cheer us up a little bit. It's Wonder Woman punching Donald Trump.
I love that image.
Yes, I wear this specifically so that I control my younger brother, who unfortunately did voted for this person.
Oh dear.
Hey, there's a silver lining is that me finding out that he's a Gamergator back in 2016. No, he was always was a Gamergator back in like 2014. I've read his blogs. Made one every single time that a New Year's Kid posted a video. It's the same kind of video in response, just in text form. And hey, I was like, I'm not the only one who's crazy and think that like that Gamergate is like horrible and awful. Oh, there are people that are saying that Gamergate is horrible and awful, and here's why. Oh, what's this feminism? Oh, what's this channel? Garrett. Oh, okay. Oh, who's these awesome people that Garrett is talking to? And here I'm at. And now I'm anarchist.
I don't know if I'm an anarchist, but I'm definitely a hardcore socialist. Like, the production needs to go to the people. I tried to explain that to my dad, and he basically the whole time, which is the worst. He's like anti-capitalist in every other way. He just doesn't see the flaw of the whole system. He just thinks that we're applying it wrong.
I think that's the biggest hurdle. I think that is. I think people keep thinking, well, there's got to be, and this is pure indoctrination. So I try to be very patient. This is total just from birth. God knows I've been told this over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's always there's a way to fix it, and it's like, no, it's built in. It's all the problems are built into the system. You might mitigate them temporarily,
Mm-hmm.
but it's never going down.
Yeah, it's always going to come back because it's always going to trend towards. Oh, hold on. Ollie, are you okay? Sorry, my 3-year-old just fell. He's okay.
Oh, hey, Ollie. You probably can't hear me, but if you could, I would say, hey, Ollie.
As you can hear, he's listening to his little baby music.
I love little ones.
Yeah, capitalism is always going to trend towards condensing power. And yeah, you can occasionally mitigate it, but it's always going to keep trending that way.
Yeah, because yeah, that's why it's just like I don't know when it was like I finally realized that like this whole system is going to end up being that way. Well, the thing is like if you want profits or you want like the investment that you put in to like make even like 1% more the next quarter or 2% more or so on and so forth, then it's like what's going to stop people from like asking for more and more and more. And I've been told this all the time and I don't agree with it, but human nature, we're inherently greedy. Okay, if that's the case, I don't agree, but if that's the case, then this is the worst system to have, because like if you're really greedy and they're in the position of power to be able to like mass all this whole thing, what's going to stop them?
Exactly. Like, if people are inherently greedy, why set up a system that rewards greed?
Yeah.
Capitalism was a great step forward compared to feudalism, but I think we can get a little better.
Yeah, because it reduces. We now just have one class that we have to like make it so that like there's no other classes, just there's no such things as class divide, as it were. I was about to say get rid of the rich, but it's like I got in trouble for that. But it's like I'll still at least joke about eating too rich. Like if we cook it in curry, then like it'll mitigate the food poisoning possibility. But yet it's not very vegan, so there's that.
Vegetarian, I can't get behind cannibalism.
Yeah, and that's totally fair, which is why he's not a serious position of eating the rich. Yes, it's a joke. It's just like a modest proposal in the other way.
That actually kind of reminds me of the ABSC babies. And I used to always be like, I don't even eat meat.
That's exactly because like even my brother thinks that like my oldest brother, so not my youngest brother, but you know, they kind of agree on this position though, is that you got to have the rules, like you got to have the state, you got to have government, because like if you don't have any rules or you don't have a state, don't have police force, if you put all the stuff in the room free, someone's going to grab it all and take it. What are you going to do then? To which I say, the thing is that by this point, if we're actually in socialism, then it's like, that's okay. We won't work with that guy. He can get the basic necessities in order to live. But if he wants anything else, like something cool that we do, it's like, okay, dude, you get just take only what you need or only a share, or at least contribute to something like that, because otherwise we won't want to work with you. You'll get the basic stuff and we'll just replenish the stuff in the center of the room because we control all the factories, so we'll make more according to need. If he wants 1,000 toothbrushes, that's fine, and if he uses all, okay. No one wants everyone else's toothbrush. I don't know why we all think that people always think that it's like but yeah.
Yeah, we're not Spike going into puberty, stealing everything.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously we haven't always been capitalists, and you know, we managed to make it work. So it's not a necessity, and I think it's absurd to suggest that it is, that we couldn't. You know, capitalism has problems, and we have so far sort of managed to work on them, and Now we're at the point where we're killing the planet. Like it's about to die. Like we're trying to kill ourselves. Like, so
he's on it. We have to adapt and change, and humans are fucked.
Yes, it's kind of like what if you that there's like a comet or asteroid going to hit the planet, but it's going to we have the predictions 20 years in the time. You have plenty of time to prepare to do something about that, but instead you see the rich people that should build their own bubble city and spaceship and blast off and live in the city in the sky. Then you're like, that's what's happening now with climate change.
Yep. I'm actually kind of lucky in that I live in the Northwest, Pacific Northwest.
Oh, hello.
And hi, I live in Oregon.
I live in South King County in Washington.
Beaverton, Oregon.
Oh, my brother actually lives in Eugene. No, wait. Yes. No, wait. Yeah, Eugene. That's what it is. Yeah.
Eugene, 2 hours south of it. Anyway.
Oh, yeah. Never mind.
And the thing is, we're actually fairly protected from a lot of effects of global warming. We're going to end up more like, southern or more like Northern California by the end of it. But we're gonna come out okay. But not the rest of the world.
Yeah, I mean, it's because that's my problem. I care about other people. I have empathy, and so it's just this is why I'm a socialist. This is why I'm an anarchist. And Steve Shives noticed that when by all my mini essays that I write to him and his Ask Aways, or the couple of times that I just go on about hey, Steve, can you put these charity links to these people so that maybe people can see their money, and maybe a super rich person is oh, here's the money, here's all the money, but that never happens, of course. But we can try. It'll be the poor people that always share around the same $100 from amongst each other.
Oh, believe me, I'm a patron for Christy here, but I'm I don't know for sure if I'm gonna be able to pay rent.
oh well, you know what? Don't. You got all the love. I'm just happy to have the love.
And hello.
I don't want to take. Hey,
this is Ollie.
Hi, Ollie. Hi. How's it going? You're 3? Oh my goodness. Oh, you're cute.
He knows it too.
Yeah.
He is autistic, just like his big brother.
Oh.
And he's not terribly vocal.
Yeah. That's okay.
Oh, you're gonna sit on my lap? Okay, we can do that.
See, I'm just going to be distracted now by cuteness. Hello.
He's very good at that. He's like, hi.
Well, we're not. It's not as interesting as old McDonald people. She doesn't sing. I get it.
I should probably turn that down. Hold on.
No, that's all right. We need a little background music. It's always good.
Yeah, there's no one in the and it's not like there's any anyone in the chat that's asking, hey, can you turn it down? But Jamie J is Jamie's mentioning how them and I are going to see a movie on Sunday in Portland, and they have an extra ticket, so that's out for there. We can work it out otherwise if you're interested. We're seeing Kiki's Delivery Service on Sunday as part of the Studio Ghibli Fest. Yeah, is one of my favorite Studio Ghibli.
I don't think I've actually seen that. I know of it, of course. I don't think I've ever seen it.
Hi.
Yeah, Kiki's Delivery Service. It's the one where like it's a coming-age story of a girl who's like finally a witch, and she's like doing going off and opening up her own delivery service business to be a full witch. And there's two kind of schools of like Miyazaki movies, and it's Hayao Miyazaki that directed this one. It's like there's the grand adventure ones, like there's like Nazca, the Valley of the Wind, and like Princess Mononoke, and there's the grand adventure ones, and then there's just like the ones about like just people just doing people things, and like Kiki's involved in the second category along with like Poco Rosso and When the Wind Rises, and so yeah, and Kiki is a dirty capitalist. Just kidding. That reminds me, is like if there's a sequel to Kiki's Delivery Service, it will be Kiki doing like all of the Uber Eats stuff and like the gig economy, and then like and revolutionizing all that. And I'm like, yes, make that, make Comrade Kiki.
I'm not Comrade Kiki. I'm talking to my friends online.
I feel like an ass.
You're fine. I'm in the program. That's my wife, Natalie.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
The whole family is here.
My eldest is off doing ABA, so.
And if he was, you definitely see him because he would demand the fine.
He would. He's 6. But no, maybe unfortunately, my introduction to anime was Princess Mononoke and Full Metal Alchemist, the original, not Brotherhood. And I got the wrong sense of the quality of anime.
That's kind of my thing, because like it was it was first Ninja Scroll, Yoshihiko Kawaguchi's Ninja Scroll, and then Momoroshi's Ghost in the Shell, the 1995 one, and then Perfect Blue by Satoshi Kon. And so, oh my god! And I was like a teenager at the time, so there was like the boobs and the blood and the violence, but also like, no, these are actually like good shows, that good movies that stand on their own. And it's like, there must be a lot of awesome anime out there. No.
Nope.
Because like it was through my oldest brother that was buying all the anime, and so he was like, oh, the cover art is good. Kimari, let's watch that. What the hell did I just watch? I don't remember.
Yeah. Oh my god, there was one anime that my friend group in high school passed around as basically, I don't know, it was almost like a hazing process that you had to watch this thing. It was this, I don't even remember what the movie was, but it was like this.
Okay. I know of like the couple that like maybe is like been infamous. There's Garzy's Wing. There is Harmageddon.
It was like about a android in the future, and the plot was barely coherent.
Battle Angel Alita?
No.
Armitage.
Possibly. I don't remember.
Well, Armitage had like the Keith Sutherland and phoning it in for like a voice, and that was kind of like on the cover. Oh man, there's Key as well. No, wait, was there that one in the future?
There are hundreds of these kind of movies.
Oh man, I had to like search like the fault of errors, because yeah, it's like or like what was the trinity of the manga OVAs that like they released that was just like bad and terrible, and maybe they're like sort of, oh wait, there's also Cyber 0080, but it's like I haven't seen that one, so it's like, ooh, damn it, I feel like nerd right now. But anyway,
the play on City or Metropolis or something like that.
Well, there was a movie that was actually called Metropolis. It was like 2001 that was animated. I saw that in theaters actually, but that was based off of the short story that Osamu Tezuka drew as a manga. Because God, Osamu Tezuka drew a lot of things, and that was that. But I actually liked Metropolis and thought it was like there's some interesting things, different things compared to like how. The Fritz Lang 1927 classic did. So, yeah, I like Metropolis. And it's like, oh, man.
Metropolis, I don't remember. But I do remember that nobody could make heads or tails of it. And
Angel's Egg? I don't know. I haven't seen Angel's Eggs either. I think you can actually find that whole movie on YouTube, and no one wants to take it down because I remember that one being heard of that one being interesting. But it's like, oh man, I know of these bad, terrible anime because I listened to an anime podcast years ago, but now I haven't like seen all of them. I did decide to buy Mad Bull 34 because it is bad, but in an entertaining way. But
like The Room kind of thing.
Yes, kind of. Well, okay, there are two police officers basically, and in the action scene where like the police officer took off his pants, yes, and there were grenades there, a bushel of them.
No, these are my SJW friends.
Oh, okay.
These are the people that, we like attack turfs on Twitter with.
Oh yes, that was one of the topics that like Christianity like alluded to that we might talk about. I'm fully ready to like talk about like not a turf, but like, well, that's the thing. He doesn't. I don't think this person calls himself a feminist, but he is a leftist. But you have to like, it's all of those people that like think that they're woke or progressive, but it's just like. Okay, maybe you were in like 1990, or sometimes it's like, hey, I'm a socialist. So it's like, yeah, but that doesn't give you a right to be a jerk. Stop that. Stop doing that. Respect people's pronouns.
Okay. I have been hearing rumors that somebody's in being a jackass, but I don't know beyond that what the hell is going on.
Well, there's something called the dirtbag left. Are you guys familiar at all with that concept?
I'm starting to.
Yeah, so I guess some of the things I can understand of the dirtbag left. I'm not really sure if it's if there's like a coherent modus operandi or organizing principle or something like that. I don't know. But some of the ideas that they have, I'm trying to be very, if you can't tell, I'm trying to be good about this and give the good thing first before I give my opinion. They are against cancel culture. They are against, well, what they call cancel culture, I should say.
Yeah.
They are uninclined to use politically correct or identity-based respect or whatever you want to call that.
Okay.
They have demonstrated a different attitude towards things like sexual harassment on several occasions. So,
okay.
But they are socialist or they are or
left,
yeah.
Leftist or anti-capitalist of some kind.
Yeah, economically left, I guess.
Yes.
I mean, I talk to a lot of socialists, especially on YouTube, and I haven't run into anybody like that. So I guess I've been just lucky.
You probably have been lucky because, like, if you get enough Twitter followers or follow enough people on Twitter, maybe you see that. Because, yeah, maybe I'm on Twitter too much, but it's like, you know, I have my friends on there. I like their posts, especially when they call out those like jerks, like James J in the chat. Like, James J is so mad about like their interactions with Vosh. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Vosh, I have mixed feelings on Vosh.
I never saw a single video of his, and so I didn't have like any good feelings about him. So I don't know his content from that. I just know from what other people have like said about his content, and I think it's like I think there can be a use for a like a leftist like destiny minus the being the jerk sort of thing, because like and but it's like it's all that there's other like things about him that's just like, oh wow, you've done that, okay, not gonna like to watch your stuff or anything like that, but it's just like it's one thing for the bigotry or and how he also seems to be again one of these people who like can't really like take criticism well, because once you say to him on Twitter, like, hey, maybe you shouldn't like do this sort of thing, he seems to like react really badly. So yeah. And I was
like I like mildly criticized non-compete, and he like took it really, really well. So,
yeah, I mean, the ability to take basic criticism, you know, and listen to people is so basic and so important. I want to say something about the use of language. I think that people demean and diminish the importance of language in framing our reality and in framing how we deal with each other and think about each other. You know, it's not random that you would use a bigoted term for someone. You know, that demonstrates something. And so it doesn't really surprise me terribly when people who are very crude also turn around to be people who occasionally do bad things, you know, because in that kind of crudeness, you know, I've said this before, you're basically saying, I care more about my personal comfort or desire to behave in a certain way than I do about these marginalized people and their how they're reacting to it, how it makes them feel, whether or not they feel unsafe or unwelcome. I care more about this desire I have to be an abrasive jerk, you know, and show off my abrasive jerkiness, and because I'm such an I'm so edgy, you know, that I do about people feeling like they are valued as humans. And you know, I mean, I get that it's difficult and that we are in a sense, when you're in a society that encourages you to disparage certain groups of people, right? That at the same time you get this like that not doing that, then that constantly saying, no, I'm not going to be a part of this sort of mainstream society thing can be very difficult. It can make you feel like, you know, you're constantly outside of the mainstream. You're always going in a different direction. It's tiring. It's, you know, like I get all those things, but you know, what are the options? I don't see any good ones.
If you're electing to go against the mainstream, of your own merits, I have less sympathy for you than, say, like my wife and I, who kind of have to go against the mainstream because the mainstream is telling us that we aren't valid. And being the only one out in my high school of 2,000 kids.
Oh my goodness.
Out, me and my ex-girlfriend. The only reason we dated was that we were both out. We did not have anything in common.
Yeah, that's. And yet now that like more people are like learning about all these new things that like and this was a journey for me is like, oh, that gender can be something like that, and it's like, okay. And thankfully I just like, well, I guess when I was like engaging with that, I was already I might be a feminist, and so it was very easy for me to like learn all these things. Oh, so if you're non-binary, you're still trans because that's a trans identity, not just like most people are like you. Some of them are trans, are also non-binary. It's like, oh, okay. So it's like, and then. I was cis, but that was fine until it wasn't fine. So now I'm non-binary. Then there we go. He, him's my preferred pronouns, but they, them is fine. So that, like, yeah, let's normalize that. You can call me, you can say they, them.
I'm in a similar boat. I am non-binary. My dysphoria is mostly around my breasts, and I don't care what you call me.
Mm-hmm.
And my binary trans. She's. Okay. Why are you trying to get my attention?
Forward. Zombieland 2 double tap.
Okay. Thank you.
This started over a question over gender abolitionism, and which many, which people who are non-binary sort of came forward and said that feels like an erasure of their identity, and it feels like something that they can't, this is who we are, is this sort of gender fluid or multi-gendered or gender expressing person, and for you to be like, no, gender doesn't count, doesn't make, it's not something that they can process as because it's not real.
The agender. It's like, there are people who are agender. Please don't pull that bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and there are people who are gender fluid, and there are people who are gender queer, and I mean, it just takes an extraordinary amount of hubris, in my opinion, to think that like nobody has this figured out yet. Literally nobody.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been working on it. and nobody's got it. Like, there's no rule that works for everybody. There's nothing there yet that you can point to and say, yeah, this is how it works exactly in 100% of cases. Nothing.
Ecology is complicated?
Of course. I mean,
all of these things are complicated. Gender is complicated, social roles are complicated, identity is complicated. So when you get like an intersection of like 10 really complicated issues, and you're like, not only do I know exactly what's going on here, I'm like, as a cis guy, I know about it so much that I can insult the crap out of you for having a different opinion, which is, I have decided, is a bad opinion, a dumb, quote unquote, dumb opinion. It's like, oh my God.
Two genders, that's biology, you say to the biologist.
It blows my mind that anybody can be so presumptuous. Like, well,
no.
Hi. Sorry.
Sorry, my little one's singing and making me happy.
We're allowed to have things that make us happy. No one should be shamed for that.
Well, I'm a mom. There's no such thing as not being criticized.
Yeah, I mean, people criticize me all the time. And when it's other left-wing people or when it's people who are coming at to criticize me from a position of being marginalized or subordinated, like I'm going to be nice about that even if I disagree with them. If somebody is coming to me because they're a right-wing jerk and they're going to be a jerk to me, then right back at you. Like
Mhm.
with a little extra thrown in for, just for good measure.
Mhm.
But if you're coming to me and you're like, I'm a person with a disability and something you said really bothered me, even if I didn't agree with that specific thing that you were coming at me, even if I thought you were wrong or mistaken, I am not going to be a dick about it. Like, because that's just, first of all, I have the humility to know that I can be wrong about shit like this. And this could really be hurtful to people. This is this isn't like every other disagreement that you have,
Yeah, there's more at stake here. Right? It's like when I was in high school and like, don't use the R word, don't use gay as a derogatory term. And I was scoffed at the whole time. And now, wow, I was right.
Mhm. Yeah, if you and I'm trying to think back to myself when I was in my 20s because that was not when I was a feminist. When I was listening to just a local radio host, but it's like a man's show, as it were, and I was like, "What? How would I react?" I would have been a jerk about it, and so, and that's where it's just like I have to. So I kind of like I can see where I was. I was that Dubro gamer. I was that kind of like person, and that doesn't mean I'm gonna excuse what like other Dubros are doing or other jerks are gonna be doing. If I have a problem with them using a word, I was like, listen, you can't. I would prefer you not to use that word because like you just don't know because like even you think that like everyone around here says I don't think you should use the word that rhymes with granny starts with T. And, but if I do that, if I limit the now words, what words do we have left? You have other words you can use. It's like, but you're limiting my free speech. It's like that was a 30-minute conversation I had at the bar. But that's
not what free speech means.
yes, just like so like I was kind of like there, but I have changed, and I wish for people to like change for the better, but that's another thing. It's just like going back to like also like my activism for like leftism is that like well at work people ask, "Hey Jonathan, how are you doing?" I go, "I'm thinking about how to start the communist, what to do to bring about the socialist communist workers revolution," and that's sometimes starts some conversations. So I was like, but what was my point? He's like, oh yeah, that's the thing about like especially like on like social media in like YouTube comments or on like Twitter or Facebook. Has anyone changed their mind because of the argument that they have? Narcopact tweeted that out. That they have like often been like held firm in their position, and sure that the other person is held firm in their position. I'm not saying that like never debate or argue with people on like Twitter because especially if like they're doing something like wrong, like saying a bad word, a slur, and like also talking down to other people, do call out that behavior. I'm not against call out culture. No, call out people for the bad behavior. But sometimes for arguments, it's like, yeah, there's maybe some futility in arguing with people or debating people on the actual issues like is God real, or like is there only two genders? No, there's maybe thousands of genders, and that's awesome. Come on. I don't know where I was going with that.
I know that I have changed one person's mind on Twitter in the months I've been doing this. But,
I've changed people's minds, you know. I mean, and it, it's I think that the idea that there's one way to do it for everybody is you know, like there are some people who you could probably hug it out with them. I don't know. Like some people are apparently capable of doing that and presenting this sort of loving and gentle, soft facade, not a facade, because they mean it. They seem to be legit and getting people across that way. And that works for some people. It would never have worked for me. And I don't think it works for me as a way of going about it. I also don't think, you know, I'm never going to be a 24/7 firebrand. You know, like that's not my ability to do it, even if I really wanted to, even if I thought it was a great way of going about it. Like so, and I don't. I think that, you know, so I think we all have to sort of approach it in our way, and we can't always sit there and say, well, your way is wrong and my way is right, because I've convinced people, and you know, we're all doing what we can do, and it will work sometimes and it won't work sometimes.
And
I mean,
things will, you know, get to different people.
Yep. I mean, for me, I finally did side and support Black Lives Matter because of a Facebook meme of like someone like me, a white guy, yelling, "Stop defending police officers gunning down innocent people and unarmed people in the streets." And I'm like, oh shit, you're right. I don't have a counter argument to that. You're absolutely right. Oh my god. And that was before I became a feminist, and so it's just like one of those things. But like, I will tweet out memes, of course, and it's like some don't take it the right way, but that's another thing. But that's I through like just sharing a bunch of like YouTube videos, I did manage to, I think, convince my older brother, who like lives in Oregon actually, and because I have seen him, that like, we gotta end capitalism, and I'm thinking, yes. He also did say that he was engaging with all of the articles and the videos that I was posting, so there was that. Yes, so there are many different ways for like people to be able to come to those things, but I think people do have to come to those decisions on their own. How that happens, it's not that one size fits all, and there's many different ways to go about it, and different strokes for different folks.
Yeah, no, definitely. Some people you have to get pissed in order to try to get them to defend their position, and find that they can't. Other people, you know, more personal touch of, hey, this is how this is affecting this particular family or this particular person. No.
With that said, is like I have talked with my younger brother. I don't think I will be the one to. I don't think I will be the one to convince him. And my older brother also has like internet conversations or email conversations with him, and I didn't. Okay. If Sargon of Akkad, because my younger brother still follows him, says that actually like researches like his stuff, or realize that he's wrong about a whole lot of other things, I don't expect that to happen ever. So still milkshake him because it's fun. And it's vegan. You could get vegan milkshakes. Until something like that happens, I don't think my younger brother is going to change his view on things until one of the thought leaders will finally say, you know what, actually there may be something to this feminist thing. And maybe that will be the road to convince him. Or he finally like hears something that's like, that can't be right, and then starts researching it. Because once you start researching what Sargon God is talking about, that's how a lot of people is like, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, that does That is one thing when you start to understand, and when I do think, I think in most cases it's going to be a process of the things that you see in your life, the people that you know, and the just shit that happens to you and that you see and things that makes it real to you is going to be the most convincing thing. But hopefully we've laid the groundwork for that to happen. You know what I mean? Hopefully we've got it all out there. You know that there is another way of looking at these things, another way of thinking about them, some ideas out there that you could like subscribe to. And then if you encounter some things in your life that actually get you to sort of to loosen up your worldview, you can let some of that stuff in. I think that's more likely to be at least a big part of it, you know, than anything. I don't expect any individual YouTube video to really change a lot of people's minds, no matter who's making it, you know?
Yeah,
I mean, there are some people.
apparently.
I mean, the thing that has taught me to be a socialist person, or an anti-capitalist, at least I would say more, what taught me to be an anti-capitalist was working in a for-profit nursing home. And that will teach you hardcore exactly why capitalism sucks. You know, in just 4 years I spent, you know, getting a master's in why capitalism sucks. So after that, you know, but that didn't mean I had any of the arguments for it. It didn't mean I had any of the economic understanding. And I didn't go to like socialism right away. I just said, you know, I used to say all the time, I know that capitalism isn't the right way, but I don't know what to do about that. You know? Like, and it took a while, you know, then you have to research the other ideas and the other sides of things and look at it that way. So, you know, I don't think there's any one perfect answer for everybody.
Yeah.
Honestly, for me, it was that statistic that there are 6 times as many empty houses in the U.S. as homeless people. And I'm like, wait, what?
Yes, because when you commodify things, and like also it's like there is the production like capitalism where you produce something, you make something, and then you sell it. But then when you also trade it, and that in itself becomes a commodity of the act of trading, so that one person can just trade something, and never actually have to like make something with their hands or use their own labor to actually do something. Just trade, speculate, stock market, different. So we're going to do this, going to do that. Those are speculating this, and what happened? 2008 all over again, which we still have not recovered from. So yeah.
Also, you know, 1930.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, so it took me a long time before I said, like, I guess I am a socialist because, or I would say I'm at least anti-capitalist because, especially my thought and thinking, and this is how, like, sometimes, like, the ideas you come to is, like, the ones that stick the most. Okay, I've been told in my entire life, and this is always been done, and this is the same organ that's recently happened, is that if you just start at the entry-level job, just stay there, and like you start in high school, but you work your way up, and then eventually you could be the CEO of the company, which the CEO of Chase Morgan Bank said in front of Congress, and it was like, they're still repeating this lie. I just thought, okay, maybe I could work my way up, but what about the people behind me? I mean, if this is in a pyramid and a hierarchy, which I've been told is natural and they've always been around, you can never get rid of them. I don't agree with that, but I've been told that several times. But if I work my way up, what about everyone else? What was that?
it'd be really nice to try something else.
Yes. And so that's just like thinking about what about everyone else behind me, and what about like the people who need a job in order to like raise their kids, and like the entry level jobs, one that's available. Then it's like I think they should be able to live off that if they work 40 hours, but we should also consider the people who can't work because they're human too. Despite how this sometimes the people in this society like views them, and yes, I know disabled friends who like big online nor to lips, and so yeah, and it's honestly like helping out my friend is what has been radicalized me to again, like I said at the beginning of the stream, want to like go to the mountaintop and yell, "Can we just do something else with this system, or use another one?" Anyway.
I don't know.
I wish I had your energy. I gotta tell you, if I had that energy, I would probably get a lot more done.
But I don't use this energy that much, other than like I guess like when I comment these streams, and I'm addicted to caffeine, I guess. So yeah.
Well, God, yeah. No, I've been on caffeine since I was 6. So.
Yep.
Yay!
That's my drug my joke. This is actually the same stuff. Why did I grab it? I have energy drinks next to my feet, so that's why I was reaching out and grab. I have so many stuff that's in arm's reach, but yeah.
I do every morning with a quad shot mocha.
I don't do the coffee thing.
I love coffee. Oh, don't badmouth coffee on this channel.
Oh, I won't. No, I can like get used to it, but it's just like not my go-to. It's energy drinks for me because I like sweet. I don't like bitter, but it's like I got used to it. I can get used to it. So sure, and plenty of health benefits by drinking coffee. That's kind of what convinced me. So yeah, and yeah.
Yeah, I do whatever, anything to get it in my body.
I don't know. It's to me, it really is like because I've even tried going to tea and not drinking coffee, and it's like I do like a cup of tea, but that's not the way to get the good caffeine. Coffee, a hot cup of coffee, and it's just it smells so nutty and yummy, and it's just so warm. It makes me happy.
Caffeine through black tea if you do it the way my mom does it, and that is she always has tea in her hands. 24/7. If she's not asleep, she has tea in her hands.
Now, I do enjoy a good Earl Grey or a good chai tea or orange spice, or again, take a Reese's peanut butter cup, bite the Reese's peanut butter cup, and then drink some more spiced tea.
People are asking in the coffee.
You got coffee so much on your mind.
Oh, never mind. People are asking in the chat what coffee is like, and it's apparently it's so good. It's stimulating. That's my answer. It just perks you up, and it's like, oh, my eyes are a little more awake now, open, and things are just a little bit working.
The taste does that to me, though. But it's definitely, I can understand how it's an acquired taste, and I do, if I can like pour a lot of like non-dairy creamery in it and a lot of like Splenda as well, and it's like, okay, I can like tolerate this. I sometimes also do put in some ice so it waters it down a little bit, but also cools it down. I can drink cold coffee. So
I could drink iced coffee too, cold coffee. I don't like it when it gets to that cigarette taste. Old coffee tastes like cigarettes. I don't understand that, but it really does. Like, I don't get how that works. It's like, ugh.
I don't smoke, and my parents weren't smokers either. So it was, I guess, yeah, I guess that. But again, I like I have like smelled cigarette smoke, and so it's like I guess that's man. Maybe it's like I don't know if that's like it used to really bother me a lot when I was like a kid, but then it started to bother me less when I started to develop the taste for alcohol as well.
I did smoking. Like I don't smoke. I've never been a smoker, but I was born in the 70s and grew up in the 80s, so like
Mhm.
it's cigarettes were just there all the time. Chevy Novas and cigarettes, that's what people had.
But I was born in '88, so through my childhood, basically nothing but don't smoke propaganda, which is like the best kind of propaganda. And and I took that to heart because I'm watching my grandfather die of lung cancer now, and
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
he's okay. He's for not a man without lungs. Essentially, he's been running. They gave him like 6 months to live 4 years ago. So,
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that he's hanging in there then. I know it's a really tough thing. Yeah.
honestly, it's just grandma won't let him.
Well, there you go.
He's ready. He's ready. I just want to die and be done with this. And she's like, "No, you're not leaving." He's like,
Good. I like a man who knows how to listen to his woman.
"Stay around."
Oh.
Well, listen, I hate to do this, but like in 5 minutes, I've got to bring my kiddo to bed. This has been a lot of fun.
And that was a great note to
Really
end on.
glad that we did this because I was like, am I going to be able to squeeze this in? I'm leaving for vacation in a couple days, and I'm like, I've got to do, I'm really glad we did this because it was a lot of fun. So
It's nice how we had the serious moments at the beginning. It naturally went to anime with me, of course, but then Heather also mentioned that's like, and then yes, I got me going. But then we talked some serious stuff about the things, and then we end on like, "Hey, Grandpa won't die because Grandma won't let him."
yeah. All right, guys. I hope this has cleared everything up. I'm sure the world. The universe, like we figured this shit out, and that's good. I'm glad. So I'm gonna say to everybody, I love you guys. Good night.
Good night.
All right. Bye.